What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. And we have more patch notes than we know what to do with today. Warlords of Draenor Alpha Patch 6.0 patch notes have been hit. You can go to MMO Champion, you can go to Blizzard Entertainment, you can go to either of those places and find these patch notes. They have been copied and pasted onto MMO Champion, so if you want to go through and read all those, or if you want to go to the actual source, battle.net, feel free to go check those out. But we have so much to cover, and to help me, as always, from a PvE perspective, is Akky. Akky, what's going on?
What's up, my man?
Oh, God. Too many notes. Too many notes.
So many notes.
So, yeah, guys, as you can see here, what we want to do is we're going to kind of read through these and cover these bullet points here. If you want to read more in-depth on any of these bullet points, I am scrolling through them right now. As you can see, it is an encyclopedia of bullshit. So, please feel free to go ahead and head over to those websites, take a look. Otherwise, we're just going to cover these bullet points, go right through them, give you our impressions as a PvE players and what's going to be happening going forward. Akky, I'm going to have you read the points, and then we'll kind of go right back through them.
Sure. Okay, so to start off, character stats have been squished into smaller numbers that are easier to understand. It's important to understand that this is not a nerf, as enemies have been squished as well.
Right, so pretty much, you know, if you guys haven't heard of item squishing yet, you've pretty much been under a rock and haven't read anything, and you're probably not watching this video. So let's be honest, if you don't, it's pretty much just making the numbers smaller, easier to manage, so that theory crafting and balance can be done without such a massive headache of dealing with some of the multipliers.
So you can sort of understand like how much damage you're doing, because unless you have like an add-on that kind of does it for you. Like, if you Chaos Bolt, for example, for over millions, right, you just see a number like 1279853, and you're just like, wow, that's quite a lot. So all they're doing is just shrinking the numbers down. So instead of it being like over 1 million, it might only be 1,000, but it's still going to be the same percent amount of damage as what a 1 million would have hit, right? It's just the numbers are being squished down. So you're not being nerfed, you're just being squished.
Yep. And then, so number 2 is a new row of talents has been added for level 100 and new Draenor perks from levels 91 to 99.
Those look interesting. I don't know what they are, but they look interesting.
Yeah, someone was telling me that they are out there, but I don't believe that until the alpha actually hits. I want to see what they are, because they're different for each spec, and you get them in a random order. So it's kind of something cool to unlock as you're leveling realistically. I don't know how beneficial they will be in a raiding environment. I highly doubt that they will be very beneficial in a raiding environment. I feel that they'll probably be more flavor than anything else.
Yeah, something to give you little benefits when you're in different zones or something.
Right. I doubt any of that will be brought into endgame level rating, because it's just another thing for them to balance, but we'll see. And then obviously the level 100 talents, which, if you guys are curious, Akky and I will be doing a mage and a warlock patch note guide or perspective videos, if you will. Those will be up shortly after this video is released, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you want to see those as soon as we go live. Akky, what's number 3?
My favorite, the Garrisons, which I'm really excited for, is a new feature available in Draenor where you can build a base, recruit followers, and send them on missions. You have no idea. This, of all the things coming in Warlords of Draenor, this is the thing that I'm most excited for. Right. This is going to give me something to do in the downtime between raids. I can build my own little empire, send out my minions to do things for me. It's going to be fantastic. Pretty
much meet Farm 2.0 on steroids, multiplied by gold sync and time sync. That's pretty much what Blizzard is giving us here.
So cool.
Is a place for us to hang out that we've designed, that we can go do stuff at, that is going to waste our time while we're waiting for raid, while we're waiting for our arena partners to get on, or whatever it is we're doing. This is what this is designed for. The same thing as, say, the farm, but it actually takes longer than 3 minutes to be done with. So,
it's gonna be so cool.
Yep. We've balanced the functionality of agility, strength, and int. So pretty much they've taken away the secondary bonuses of those stats. Pretty much that's all it's saying. Int, strength, and agility will now only buff your int, strength, and agility. Akky, what's the next one?
Hit and expertise have been removed.
Thank the fuck God!
Needed in order to reliably land attacks. So it was kind of frustrating trying to get to like hit caps and wasting stat points, so per se, on hit just to make sure you can attack. So they've done away with that and just let you go at it so that everyone can hit.
Yeah, and obviously, guys, they are adding more secondary stats and they are taking away mastery. So, you will have some other things that you obviously want to boost, but what this allows you to do is kind of tune those forks a little bit more because you don't have, your first two allocations do not now have to be to hit or expertise. It's allowing you to kind of play a little bit more with your secondary stats, which I actually really like. I think is a great change. Having stats that everybody just has to have, like Blizzard said here, pretty much it's pointless if everybody has to have it. What's the point of having it? So let's just get rid of it and add more flavor. And I like that idea. I'm on board with it. I agree with it. Could change completely. Akky, what's the next one?
The pace of healing has been adjusted to allow for more tactical decision making regarding efficiency and throughput on both single target and multi-target heals. So passive and auto-targeted healing have been reduced in effectiveness in order to emphasize the actions and choices of their healers. So basically it's more sort of a triage, and they want you to make healing a bit more interesting instead of just, at the moment, the current state is AoE and let the smart healers do their thing, right?
Yeah.
That's basically all there is to healing at the moment. I mean, I'm not a healing buff, and I could be wrong, and some of you healers might hate me, but from what I understand, that's how it works. So from this, it's going to make it so that, alright, so this heal is, it takes longer to cast, but I'm going to get much more healing out of it, and it's going to be much more mana efficient. Should I use this? Or do I use this really inefficient one because the tank has taken a big spike of damage and needs to be healed up quickly, sort of thing?
Right.
So just going to make it more triage-y, more decision on you instead of just laying out AoE and letting the smart heals do their thing. So
yeah.
Very cool. I like it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it, especially from somebody who loves to heal, used to heal quite a bit. Is the idea that now it's just, especially when I was playing a druid, is you were judged based on pretty much, do I keep my wild growth up at all times? How hard is my, or if you're a priest, you know what I mean? Any class really has these huge shamans. I don't know how that's going to work anymore because everything they do is multi-target. Yeah, so they'll probably have to be reworked quite a bit. But I am curious to see how this goes because, again, what they're really saying is we want you to actually make choices that matter instead of, okay, well, if this is on cooldown, I now have no choice because this is just so overpowered over the course of 10 seconds that even if I only get 50% efficiency on it, I should cast it anyway. So I think that's what they're trying to go away from, which I like. The next one, racial traits have been rebalanced so that all races have similar combat performance. We knew this was coming. Racials have been pretty much redesigned. And you guys can go see those.
Just scroll down a bit and you'll see them on this huge patch notes list as you read through.
Yep.
So, what's the next one? All classes have had several abilities pruned with a focus on redundant and less used abilities to cut down on button and keybind bloat. So basically this is taking out a lot of spells that maybe very rarely get used.
Exactly.
Very situational, and have somehow, they've kept them, but they've sort of incorporated it into other abilities. So, for example, like Warlock Curses now, you don't have to apply those to each target. You would just put the curse up on one target and it affects all enemies within an X amount of radius. So, it's very, just basically took out a lot of the fat.
Yep. Yep. And they needed to do that. Again, like I have a Naga, and I have pretty much everything bound to it because I have so many spells that I never hardly use, but just in case I may need it, and then I have to have it bound because I'm obviously not going to open my spellbook and cast it. So that's kind of what they're doing behind that. The amount of crowd control in the game, primarily PvP, has been drastically reduced. Many crowd control abilities have been removed, and many diminishing return categories are now merged together. So pretty much the CC chain, as we know it in PvP, is broken. What they are trying to do is now make it so that you have to really decide, is this worth interrupting? Is this worth CCing? When is the time to do it? And if you don't do it, well, now you're just in a dogfight. And that's pretty... I actually like that change. Again, I'm not a huge PvP buff by any means, but I've seen, some of the huge, sick PvP crowd control chains that I've seen are just absolutely disgusting. And again, same idea is you have so many different crowd control abilities that, again, the redundancy was what was really bugging me.
And several common buffs and debuffs have been merged or removed where they were redundant. So that's things like Sunder Armor and stuff like that on the boss, or buffs for like strength and agility. It's all sort of just gets merged under one buff. Again, just removing that button bloat sort of thing that we talked about earlier.
Yep. So. All characters now learn a few important major glyphs automatically as they level up. Love it.
Love it. Yeah, I'm kind of... I see both ways on it. So I like the idea of it. That's very cool that I don't have to go back to town, find the auction house, and pay ridiculous amounts for it. But then again, scribes lose a bit of gold making. So
scribes need no more gold with glyph making.
That's true. So it's kind of good and bad. The amount of instant healing in the game has been toned down by giving cast time to several instant cast heals. So again, this sort of touches over the healing that we talked about. A lot of the instant heals that you could cast or put out, have been given a slight cast time again. So you have to make that decision,
right,
with that triage type of thinking, whether this is going to be worth using. So.
Right. So if I go back to the Resto Druid point of view again, like casting Rejuve is an instant cast dot that pretty much just heals abundantly and then tails off as it ticks down. Well, now if you can't just sit there and rejuve 10 11 targets, you now have to actually cast time, so you're not going to get that amount of rejuves rolling, so you have to be very specific on who you're going to rejuve and why, and I like that change.
It's very cool.
Let's see. Vengeance has been redesigned and renamed Resolve. Resolve does not increase outgoing damage, but now increases tank self-healing and absorption based on damage taken. So,
cool.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
So basically makes it so that tanks do tank damage instead of insane DPS damage.
Right. Right.
And still makes it worth getting, right? Like, you're still going to want this Vengeance, or now renamed Resolve, because it's going to increase your self-healing and the amount of damage that you can reduce done to you. So
yeah, the only thing that I am worried about in lesser talented groups is now tank threat becoming an issue.
I think they're gonna keep the amount of threat, generation. Like, the threat will still be out, but it just won't be shown in damage numbers.
I got you. Okay.
So yeah. Facing requirements. So character positions on some prominent abilities have been loosened or removed.
Love it.
So that's things such as Shred for ferals, you don't have to be behind, Backstab for rogues, those sort of annoying things that could put you in weird places. So.
Yep. The mana cost of resurrection spells has been reduced to make it a little easier to recover from a wipe. Perfectly fine with that. There is no reason to not have that be pretty much free, because what is the point? You're not going to cast it during a raid.
It's a nice quality of life change there, instead of having your tank with a soulstone pop up and then wait for him to eat in between reses because he doesn't have a big mana pool. So professions no longer have combat benefit perks.
I love this. The only thing
this is very interesting, very cool. So now you can choose whatever profession you want without having to be maybe ridiculed by your raid.
So when you apply to that guild as a warlock and you have mining and blacksmithing, you're not going to be immediately declined because you're an idiot. And you're not going to have to power level different professions. Like all mages pretty much, all casters pretty much power leveled engineering this expansion. I know I did.
I know I did a lot for people too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that I actually like that quality of life change. There is no reason to have that specifically tied to combat, especially because there's some professions that you just don't make money on. And if you have a problem with gold, sometimes there's people who I don't have enough time to really make a whole lot of gold in the game. I pretty much allocate time to raid with my buddies or to PvP with my buddies. But I would like to make money, but I have to have these certain professions because they're such an OP bonus. So now with that gone, now it's okay, well, if I can log in for a couple hours a week and just farm or just do this, I can make some gold, and then I can pay for my repair bills, for glyphs, for enchants, and stuff like that.
Exactly. Very cool.
And then the last one, there are a multitude of class-specific changes, including things like improved distinction between different talent specializations and new masteries. Consult the class-specific sections below for more information.
Do what it says.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, guys, so pretty much, if you want to read any more in depth into these things, please feel free. If there's anything that confused you, go ahead and feel free to run through these. I'm scrolling through them right now just so you can see the literal amount of patch notes that there are. Obviously, you know, we've gone through. I've looked at things that I care about. I have not looked at things that I don't yet. It's just so much information. So make sure that you go through and read your class's specific changes or patch notes or whatever. Akky, anything else before we go?
Nope, I think that's pretty much it. Again, you can find all this stuff on the front page of MMO. It's really easy to get to. But now I think that pretty much covers it all.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Thank you for hanging out. Again, the Mage and the Warlock guides will be coming up very shortly after this guide. So thank you for watching, and as always, we will see you guys in the next one.